What's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 436 of the Smark Moments Smack Talk podcast. Hot tags of the week. A little bit later than we normally do here, but the same thing that we normally do. We're going to break down the current events, rumors, news, gossip, and everything else that went down on the world of professional wrestling over the past few days. We are the same people that we always are. I am Tony Mango. Rob is Robert D. Felice.
How do you know we're the same people we always are?
I don't know. This time I might be Chet Jones.
Hey, Chet.
Well, hello there.
I'm Steve Stevenson. How you doing?
Any relation to Phil Stevenson?
No.
Yeah, he's got his own show from back in the day.
I'm just, I'm a guy with the same name twice. Steve Stevenson, son of Steven Stevenson.
Well, if you happen to also be a guy or a girl with the same name twice, maybe you're Mary Marys or Bill Williams or something like that. I don't know. Kelly, yeah. I still don't know why they didn't go with Barbie Blank. That would have made a lot more sense. But hey, if you are like any of that, tell us. Drop a comment below. You should be dropping comments for everything. Things that are related to this, things that aren't related to this. I don't know. 2 years from now, you should drop a comment and just be like, hello. So if this is
Thank God we made it out of 2020, huh?
Yeah, if this is April 10th, 2022, and you remember you got it on your calendar and you just want to say hi. Or maybe you want to explain the one comment that somebody had left at one time where they said LOL at foot pun. And I still have not figured out what the hell that was in reference to.
Well, they were LOLing at the foot pun.
Whatever the foot pun was. I had listened back to that episode. I don't remember what it was at this point. It was like episode like 80 something or whatever, but I was just kind of like, what foot pun? And I listened to the whole thing and I'm like, I don't remember there being a foot pun in this thing. So I don't know. We'll figure it out some random day. That'll be the question to ask at the Pearly Gates. We're going down a weird rabbit hole here. We haven't even started yet. So,
right about now, Callum's going, motherfucker, they need to stop taping at night.
Stop recording at 11:30 at night after big days full of a bunch of random news and weeks filled with more content than you thought it would be because for some reason pro wrestling doesn't end when the world ends. It just keeps going. But we are also glad to be here, obviously. We're glad to be talking to you guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you've enjoyed the last couple of things we've been doing too, because we've recently done a dark cast. We did a bonus features for the Patreon for fanboys. We did a movie fan tracks for Pokemon the Movie 2000 as part of Fanboys Anonymous. And tomorrow we're going to be doing something, another thing part of the Patreon. We're going to be doing one more match, Eddie Guerrero. Why do I feel like I'm rounding out the show? We didn't even start it yet.
Well, because you used the word enjoyed this episode instead of we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Oh, it's month 3 or whatever for quarantine. Anyway, as I was saying, you should leave comments. You should tell us your thoughts on this. You should tell us whether we should record on earlier times and stuff. And all of the hot tags that we're going to be breaking down here, tell us your opinions about those too. If you are listening to this on platforms that do not have comment sections like Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, 2 tin cans with a little string in between the two, somebody just yelling something out from their window trying to get somebody's attention from down the street, you might not be able to leave a comment on there. And if you are on YouTube, though, you can leave a comment. That's one of the benefits of that website. You can watch things. You can tube, I think, and you can also leave comments. So while you're over on YouTube, if you've not subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and do that. While you're doing that, there's a little bell that pops up. That is a notification bell. If you ring that by clicking on it, you will get notifications. That's how it works. So that not only applies to that, like when it comes to uploading videos, but it also does with live videos. And we will be doing live things here and there. Hopefully, next week, the mailbag will be live. Q2 mailbag is coming up. When we were doing this whole, we'll split the mailbags into quarters. We kind of assumed we'd be in a completely different time frame of this year, and that things would be totally different. But hey, you go with the flow. You see what happens. And if you are not able to join us live for that mailbag, but you still want to send in mailbag questions, then send them in now, because now, as soon as you're reading this, send them right now. Just drop what you're doing.
Listening to this, Tony.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they might be doing something else. They might be like, I don't know, gardening and listening to this with one of those.
Yeah, but you said reading this.
I said reading? Oh my God. What is wrong with me? Yeah, whatever you're doing, on top of listening to this right now, think of some mailbag questions, send them our way. We'll answer them on most likely Wednesday afternoon at around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Actually, what is the difference between standard time and I'm not getting down that rabbit hole. Okay. Uh, that's what our game plan is. That's going to be the main event for next week. But we still have the hot tags to round out this week instead of starting it. We did things a little bit differently. So we're going to backtrack on a couple things. We're going to talk about some TV shows. We're going to talk about some network specials and some other stuff like that. So tell us your thoughts on those. Send in those mailbag questions and listen to the rest of this episode. Watch time is great. So I'm going to clear my throat real quick. I apologize in advance. And
Damn fine throat clearing, sir.
my family's widely known for their throat clear. I have a history of throat clearers, I guess. I don't know.
Oh God,
this is the stupidest hot tags we've ever done, I think. But it's not as bad as that's probably as bad as the Darkcast and all that stuff. The Patreon stuff.
Funny is this is also the busiest hot tags we haven't even fucking started.
That is true. Let's get into this. Did you know that as weird of a time frame as we're in right now, we're heading towards the best summer ever? At least according to AEW. Because they trademarked that.
I feel so bad for them. Because they started that trademark like so long ago. Like when it was, maybe even late February, and it was like, things are looking up, it's WrestleMania season. It's gonna be the best summer ever.
How do you trademark best summer ever? That seems very vague.
But if you're trademarking it for the purposes of wrestling event.
Just seems kind of strange to be like, all right, we're gonna hit you with like AEW best summer ever coming to pay-per-view or something. Like, really?
I feel like that's
why not call it like summer
live event tours? I would feel like it's that, but
maybe.
they don't.
That could be like because they don't really do live event tours. So maybe they are just gonna. Well, their game plan obviously changed now, but maybe the game plan was to do some kind of like 4-week tour, calling it the best summer ever tour or something like that.
Yeah, maybe like those Dynamites would have been called the best summer ever.
Now it's gonna be called live from QT Marshall's trim.
No, it's parts unknown.
Yeah, it's true, and it wouldn't be live either. So,
well, I don't know. If the Florida governor seems hell bent on turning everything around, so maybe it will be.
Well, apparently WWE's thinking that they're going to go live next week, so
they're not just thinking; they're doing. Vince.
But isn't there contradictory reports about this now? Because it's like, well, they're going to tape everything through Money in the Bank, but then at the same time they want to go live.
Well, here's the caveat, and I guess this can be a hot tag, right? Seems like a hot tag worthy topic, but PWI and Fightful Select had reported they're going to do mass tapings. Fightful reported it on Monday or Tuesday. PWI reported it today. By the end of SmackDown, guys, we have a report from Ryan Satin saying, yep, they're going to be live. Multiple sources confirm. And then Sean, Fightful Select, says, yep, they're going to be live, and wrestlers are pissed. Well,
seems like a bad idea.
I feel like Vince probably got upset that it was found out they were going to mass tape. So he's like, no, we're going to go live, damn it. And we're going to fucking do it live, yeah. And they gave him those papers that say you're essential. I know those papers because my mother works at a hospital. She has a piece of paper that says she has to be outside because she's essential. So they are essential members of the media, Tony. They are essential members of the media. So it's, CNN, CNBC, NBC, MSNBC, Fox News, and WWE Superstars.
It's still so crazy to me. Every time I'm reading stuff or seeing things posted on social media or whatever, and people are talking about like, well, I do this kind of a job and I'm stuck at home and whatever like that. And I'm sitting there going, I'm working harder. Why am I working harder? I write about pro wrestling stuff. Like,
I know, I keep telling everybody that. I'm like, yeah, I'm working hard. I'll tell you the truth. I've done more this month for anybody. I'm doing more for WrestleZone. And I was like, how am I working more? We're not essential.
I mean, I'm glad to still have a job,
No, don't
obviously,
get me wrong. Me too. But like,
but it's so weird to be like, I'm working harder to earn less money during this time frame.
yeah,
If I had it my way, I'd kind of rather be the type of person who's just kind of been like, okay, we're on a little bit of a furlough and I can get some kind of compensation some other way or something. I don't know. I mean, not that I would want to continue to like, or not continue to stop. That doesn't make any sense. Not that I would want to stop doing some of the things that are on like the fun side. Like, I mean, the hot tags aren't bringing in, you know, the same type of money as somebody who's working some corporate job or something like that. I get pennies on a few videos. It's not the same sort of thing as somebody who's like, oh, I'm a lawyer and I can't have legal proceedings or whatever. But like, it's just crazy. The idea that that's going on so much when even other sports and stuff that are similar are not happening. Like we could talk about this. We could transition to this thing just to show you how insane everything is nowadays. UFC's like, bought an island. We're gonna have Fight Island, and then since that's happened, it's been now put on hold. And it seems like that's because Disney said this is insane. Don't do it. And Dana White's like, I'm still gonna fucking do it, like that kind of thing.
so now he's kind of like the grumpy kid who has to admit that it's not gonna happen, even though like it's not his fault. He's like, yeah, I guess we're on hold for now.
You can tell he still wants to do it,
Yep.
and that is factored in with so many different things that's going on now. We've said this on a couple different
Humor me.
podcasts.
I know that we've gone way off the deep end here, but Trump, right before Mania, had a conference call with like all these sports authority figures, and Dana and Vince were on the call. I feel like Trump would be, yes, and we've got Vince McMahon on the line, tremendous guy. You know, I shaved his head in Detroit in front of a bunch of 20,000 people. It was amazing, right, Vince? Vince, tell me about how I shaved your head. And the whole call is just Vince and Trump going back and forth, like, yeah, you're a tremendous bastard, you. And everybody else just like, the fuck?
And I would have pictured Trump sitting there talking to everybody from like, soccer leagues, baseball, football, whatever. And they're all like, can we start the football season? And he's like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Like all this other kind of stuff. And then Vince is just kind of like, we're going to keep doing our shit. And he's just kind of like, oh, it's great. Yeah, you can do that. It's just kind of.
Vince, you're tremendous. I love your hard work ethic. It's great. I love you. Your wife is great. Everything's great. But can we have sports? No, I'm sorry. It's out of my control.
That's when Vince starts going, well, we're not sports. We're entertainment.
Or sports entertainment.
And then somebody goes, yeah, all the entertainment things are shut down too. Movies and TV shows are not in production. Well, we're not in entertainment. We're sports. And they go, well, that's done too. It's sports and the entertainment are down. And he goes, well, we actually just put smiles on faces, and you can't tell me that I can't put a smile on somebody's face during this quarantine. The WWE does like some big rehauling on the stock market where instead of being like, sports entertainment company or whatever they're classified for, I don't know anything about stocks, but like they go from that to being like Smile Corp or something like that. Like,
they're just smiles on faces entertainment.
Yeah. SOF. Doesn't have the same ring as EC Dub. Yeah, like I mean, as far as a couple days ago, the plan was, okay, well, UFC is going to figure out a way to do this, so the plan was, if I know this correctly, which maybe I'm wrong, and if I am wrong, drop a comment below, clarify to me what I was wrong about. It seemed like Dana White was pitching it like this, because I don't follow UFC, but I tangentially follow it just because it's, WWE and UFC has some crossover and stuff. It seemed like his idea was, fuck it, we're going to keep doing it. I'll buy an island. I won't say to anybody where the hell this island is. We'll take a bunch of people, maybe they're schlubs, maybe they're not, doesn't matter. They'll essentially be like blindfolded and sent somewhere that they don't even know where they're going, as if this is like challenge 1 of Fear Factor or something. And they'll just go to this island and fight, and you can't tell me otherwise. It seems like that's what the plan was, which makes me think more and more we're heading in this direction of this like Mad Max Fury Road type of thing or something. Like 2020 is insane. And you're telling me before we get started, I don't follow baseball that much, but apparently baseball is going to have the Cactus League and the Grapefruit League. What the fuck is going on this year?
So, first of all, that sounds like so much fun. That sounds like the fake leagues that get made in a Nintendo game.
I was thinking like that would be what like Rocco and that people would be in or something. Like some Nickelodeon thing would be like, okay, like we're playing Global Guts and we're gonna have the Cactus League and the Grapefruit League and whatever. That's something that they played in, I don't know, Wild Thornberries or something. Like the Cactus League, what's happening next with WWE? Like, because I mean, AEW is continuing, WWE is continuing. They're trying to figure out some stuff, but if everything goes in this direction, we're gonna get like, I don't know, a Raw and SmackDown going to be renamed to Great Balls of Fire and Saturday Morning Slam, and it's still going to be on Fridays. Like,
no, it's going to be great. It's Great Balls of Fire and Blue Balls.
Blue Balls of Fire.
You introduced me to the Fight Island thing, and all I could think about was, holy shit, Dana White is the one person crazier than Vince McMahon. Now, I've only seen this guy on a few interviews ago. Yeah, bro, I might die from like cancer or like, a car accident or whatever, bro, but I'm not fucking dying for the coronavirus. That ain't happening, bro. I'm not, gonna stay inside my house. It's like, you are and I like Dana. I did, but like, fuck, you're the worst. You're just the worst.
I feel like everything is so crazy now. Like, I'm starting to get to the point where if anybody tells me anything, I'm going to believe it. If
we're already headed that way as a country anyway, with all the news stuff. But yeah,
like if I read a report that said like snails were raining from the sky, I'd be like, April, like just sort of. April showers bring, yeah. That's gonna be the like the tagline for 2020. Must be 2020.
Oh god,
best summer ever. So we might get Fight Island at any point. The baseball is like a cactus and a grapefruit now. The XFL's done. They've suspended operations. They laid off their employees. Everybody's saying it's not even going to come back for a 2021 season.
That sucks. That does suck. Like, they were doing good, and now they're dead again. It's not even their fault this time.
Maybe it's a little bit of me being in denial, but I feel like all these companies keep talking about like, well, we're done now. It's never going to happen and whatever. And I kind of can't feel like that's a reality. Like I read something the other day that it was like AMC is going to file for bankruptcy. I'm like, yeah, we can't just have no movie theaters.
Well,
like
that's just AMC.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're going to potentially file for bankruptcy, you got to imagine that the other ones are right in the same boat. You think like Regal is going to be like, oh, suddenly we're fine. They're not making any money either.
Well, drive-ins are making a comeback. Maybe it's just going to be a weird era of on-demand and drive-in theaters.
That seems like that's sort of like, I can understand like a local restaurant going under, and I could understand local anything that's like small. I can understand them being like, well, we need that revenue, so now we can't reopen because we had these business loans and we can't do this. But like these corporations, like these airlines and stuff, they're just sort of like, well, we're done forever and all that. Okay, nobody will ever be able to fly again. Nobody will ever be able to go to movies again. Nobody will ever be able to do this, that kind of thing. Eventually, at some point, whether it's 2 months from now or 8 years from now, things have to become somewhat normal again. And if the XFL went through all this time and effort and money, let's just say theoretically things are back to normal in July. I don't know. I highly doubt it. But if that's the case, then who's to say that the XFL can't get started for 2022? Yeah. I'm
There
sure they've
must be
got
a
a lot of infrastructure that they
there
wouldn't
must
have
be a
to.
reason that they just flat out said we're shutting down operations.
The only thing I can think of, and I have no idea what any of this stuff means, so by all means, this is not me reporting anything, this is not me confirming anything, it's me speculating as a complete moron. If
Halloween
maybe
Havoc is coming back.
if there's some kind of weird tax loophole loan blah blah situation thing where maybe the XFL wasn't making as much money as they were hoping for, and maybe they can kind of liquidate what if they got and say, well, the coronavirus screwed us. We had a couple more weeks, and those were going to be our best weeks, and we were going to have our championship game, and that would have made this, and that would have made ourselves sustainable, and this stability is gone because of that kind of thing. So we're going to write it off as it was a failure of a business that we did not find ourselves able to control from outside factors and recoup some of our losses. And then we can perpetually always say, well, we didn't screw up. The virus screwed us. Maybe that's the case. That way,
Yeah.
if they would have failed normally a second time, people would have just been like, okay, the XFL just doesn't work. But if you can blame it on something else, I mean, I'm not a construction worker. If I were going to do construction on a house, I'm sure it would be horrible. And then if a thunderstorm happened and it struck the house and it burned up, I'd be like, well, there's no saying that I wouldn't have done a bad job. It could have stayed up there, but the lightning hit it, like that kind of thing. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Maybe XFL wasn't
Yeah.
doing well enough and they're like, let's blame it on this, wash our hands of it, get some of our money back. Because he was going to lose or spend, what was it, like 500 million? Something like that?
That sounds about right. He had a bunch invested in Alpha Entertainment. I wonder if that will cease operations.
I wonder what that actually even is. Because they probably
It's just
don't
some
bother to have
it's
like,
just some entity that he started to
yeah,
house the XFL.
because it's not like, I mean, for as far as I know, it's not like they've got like some kind of headquarters or something.
They did, but it wasn't. Well, it was mostly for the XFL.
Like a building like how the WWE HQ is.
Much smaller, but
Yeah, I mean, definitely smaller.
yeah.
They just
But
like rent something out of like it used to be Burger King and now it's Alpha Entertainment headquarters or something like that.
exactly, that's what I would imagine, or like XFL headquarters.
I still think XFL might return because right now, as far as I'm aware, XFL has not officially said anything like on XFL pages and stuff like that. It's just people going, yeah, this isn't coming back. But we
Well,
got that going on. We got the UFC thing. We got
there
all
was
this.
a conference call where the COO did say we laid everybody off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like,
It's suspended operations. That makes sense. Because what are they going to do in the meantime?
like, are they furloughed or like? I don't know.
Because it is a temporary thing. Like, they are not a company the same as, like, Starbucks. Starbucks is like, all right, we're going to make a bunch of chains. We're going to sell stuff all year round. XFL's planning stuff. They want to do a season, whatever. They didn't get a chance to do their whole season. write it off as being like, well, that was kind of an unofficial launch, and maybe next year or the year after that, we build some steam back up, and then XFL's trying again, third time's the charm, that kind of thing, Might happen.
I hope it does. I feel bad for all involved who lost their jobs.
So, before we bounce around to some of these other things, I kind of want to go back in time to some things we would have talked about last week or a little bit earlier this week. The WWE Network specials. These are way past the time frame when these first came out because they were leading up to WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is already, of course, this past weekend. But over the past couple of days,
in 2020 time, that was 2 years ago.
Feels like it. We had a couple different things. I watched all of them from the group that I have written down to talk about, but I didn't watch any of those like Charlotte Flair's best WrestleMania matches or any of that kind of crap because I've seen the matches.
I did watch. I skimmed through the Edge one. They didn't fucking add Edge versus Foley. I was like insulted.
What did they do? Do you remember?
It was like him versus Booker T, him versus Jericho, the one with Del Rio, and
the Del Rio one was on there. Why?
Well, yeah, because it was the last match. And
the Taker one should be on there.
I don't even think that was on there. Oh, the Cena one with the Big Show.
Was the TLC?
I believe 17 was, but not like the Money in the Bank. That wasn't on there. I was like, those are his two best moments. What the fuck?
That's weird.
Very.
I didn't see that, but I saw Where Are They Now? Eva Marie and Snitsky. Dream Match Mania, Untold, HBK versus Angle, Chronicle, Drew McIntyre, and 24 Edge, the Second Mountain.
So start me off with Untold, because I didn't get a chance to see that yet. Is it good?
I liked it. I think that maybe that might be because I wasn't watching at that time, that there's no like, well, I already seen all these kind of things and stuff. I watched the match between HBK and Kurt Angle, but I wasn't watching for the feud, and I've seen some bits and pieces here and there, but they dove deeper into a thing that I wasn't watching, so I enjoyed that. I'd say see it.
Cool.
Did you see Eva Marie and Snitsky, Where Are They Now?
Nope. I stopped after I got a good look at Snitsky's beard and said, why is Kelly hosting this shit?
She was not a good host. Not a fan of that. I say skip it, but it's kind of interesting. Snitsky seemed like he wasn't really super bitter about things, which was kind of neat. He was just sort of like, yeah. He was talking about like, hey, he wanted to do well. He tried to make the best out of his opportunity. It didn't work out. He gets it. Now he works at a military supply store.
Aww.
And he's just kind of like, yeah, I love this. This is good. I got my action figures.
I hate that. I do. I get a little sad when I hear that. Like I was watching Dark Side of the Ring, and Bart Gunn was like,
"Oh yeah,
yeah, I go to work now. It's not that same rush." And I was just like, "Fuck, that sucks."
It does have to be weird to go from thousands of people reacting to you and stuff to just sort of being like,
you're a WWE Tag Team Champion. In Snitsky's case, you main evented a Survivor Series. The fuck you mean you're working at a military supply store?
He seems like he likes it.
So, I guess, but it's always sad for me.
He, I think he might partially own it.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. I'm trying to remember a thing from a week ago. But he was just like, yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania. Like I go mountain biking and all this other kind of stuff and whatever, and that's fun. So he seems like he's in a cool kind of thing.
Samoan shows.
Oh yeah,
when they run, if they'll ever run again.
Well, that seemed like it was like, okay, Snitsky's doing all right, and even Marie, she's doing a whole bunch of fitness things. She's got purple hair now.
All purple, everything.
She did the whole typical thing where she's like, oh, I wouldn't rule out the idea that I could come back at some point because I don't feel like I ever left for good. And,
Oh, no, she's coming back. You know that, right?
I'd be surprised if she didn't. but she is working on some movie now. She's still doing the modeling stuff
Not
because she's
anymore.
still hot. Yeah, well, yeah, now she's not, but at the time when they were doing that, she looks good. So it's just a matter of her being like, all right, whatever kind of thing. So I don't think that you should really bother seeing it. I gave you all the good stuff there. Did you watch Dream Match Mania?
Yes.
I watched part of it.
How good was Big E?
Big E was the best part.
That's all we need to talk about.
Yeah, Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Well, here's what it was. If anybody didn't know, it was Matt Camp on Skype, of course, because that's all we do nowadays. He's on there with some kind of an extra guest host of some fashions and 2 different people or so. And they're watching WWE 2K20 simulated matches. So it was like Roman Reigns versus The Rock with the Usos on there. And they were supposed to kind of be doing commentary, but instead, a lot of these people just were doing an interview while a match is happening on the 2K thing. So I hated that. And this is something that I've pitched before of like, why don't they do things like this? And clearly, they can't help themselves. It just becomes interviews. And I didn't like that at all. But Big E and Kofi were watching Big E versus Goldberg, whereas Big E would say, Goldberg!
Goldberg!
And Goldberg wins, and Big E's like, I can't believe you brought me here. You got me watching this.
Goldberg doesn't just win. Goldberg wins almost decisively, like Big E barely gets any offense in.
He was great.
And then Big E's like, you called me on my day off. You called Kofi. The man's got 2 kids and a wife. And you call him. And then you job me out? Who did this?
It's like,
who did this and why?
He's like, Matt Fool, change your Twitter.
It's like, and Matt Camp's like, I'm sorry. I just wanted to watch, big men. And
slapping me.
This is just a Dream Match Mania. And Kofi's just, whose dream? Whose dream is this?
That was the best part. And then it was followed by the worst part. Charlotte Flair and Beth Phoenix watching Charlotte Flair versus Beth Phoenix. And I shut that part off because that was just Flair and Beth going, well, the women's division is so important and there's so many great people and I would love to step in the ring with these people and this person was a trailblazer. I've heard it a million times. I don't fucking care anymore.
Doesn't that suck?
It does suck, but it's like that applies to everything. It's not just a women's division. It's everything that's like that.
Yeah, but
I can't listen to. I mean, we were talking about baseball earlier. I don't watch baseball. I don't care about baseball. It's not something I'm a big fan of. A big fond of. I mix that all together. But if I were to watch a baseball game, I want to be there live. I want to experience something new, that kind of stuff, or whatever like that. I don't want to watch like an old breakdown of, well, the best of all time was Babe Ruth and blah blah blah. I've heard it before. Babe Ruth is the best of all time with whatever and such, and I don't care. And
was he though?
When I'm watching movies and stuff, like I'll watch some of the movies over and over again depending on what it is, but like I also might not watch a documentary of the making of Jaws if I've watched 4 different documentaries of the making of Jaws. Like at that point, how much more are you really going to tell me? And they weren't telling me a damn thing new this time. It was just Beth saying like, oh yeah, I would love to step in the ring with Charlotte, and Charlotte doing the same thing with Beth. And I'm like, nope, skip.
I'll give you a good example of that. I love Brett. I love Sean. I don't want to hear about the Montreal Screwjob anymore.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, unless you're going to tell me something new, I don't need to watch another breakdown of it.
Yep.
If they were to do, did they do for Vice? Did they do the Montreal Screwjob?
Yep.
Okay, like I didn't see that, and I'm sure somebody might have told me that ahead of time, and I've probably been like, oh, okay, well, I don't need to watch it because I've seen it a million times.
The only revelation that came out of that was Cornette taking credit for what happened. He's like, Vince dared me to come up with a finish, and I said, fuck it, have Sean put Brett in his own move.
I don't buy into any of these things anymore either. it seems like everybody is the one that said, "How about we just do that?" It couldn't have been Triple H and
I buy
Michaels and
this.
Cornette and Vince and
This is
Pritchard
the
and
version of the
Patterson
story
and
that I buy. I believe that Cornette was reading a book where that similar thing happened, and then he got tired of Vince going back and forth on the phone with them, so he just said, "Screw him, figure it out." And then I believe that Triple H, in a private meeting with, Sean, Hunter, and Vince or whoever, said, why aren't you just saying fuck it and doing business for him? I believe that. And I also believe that Vince Russo would take credit for everything because that's who he is. So I believe like there's some version of the truth in all of that.
it's all true. Vince went to like 15 people and he was like, "What do you think we should do?" And every one of them's like, "I don't know, fucking Sean puts Brett in the sharpshooter. We
See,
just do a
but
screw
I
job." And
believe
then
that Vince would go to 15 people.
at
And then,
afterward he goes, "I don't want any of you to act
yeah,
I don't want any of you to know what's happening. I want to protect you."
yep, I believe that entirely. If you've seen enough of this to believe that.
That's true. But that happened, then we had Seth Rollins and Ric Flair, Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole were doing that. I actually skipped over that. I skipped over Sasha versus Trish with Bailey and Sasha. Because at that point, I'm like, this probably isn't going to get any better than the Big E thing. But I did watch Drake Maverick and R-Truth watching John Cena versus Hulk Hogan. Because they were funny.
What a fucking random. What?
Yeah. Well, R-Truth, his childhood hero is John Cena.
Okay.
Apparently, Drake Maverick's childhood hero is Hulk Hogan.
Okay, sure. All right, I got it.
That was funny though. I liked. Obviously, R-Truth is being R-Truth, so of course, like when Matt Kemp's there, he's just kind of like, "Hey, Evan." Like, but I say skip it. If you didn't watch it, don't watch it now. It's not worth it.
I got it. I agree with that.
I would say watch the WWE Chronicle on Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
That was cool that they were able to talk about the pandemic. And McIntyre was. I feel bad for McIntyre because I totally understand it too. He's basically like, I was the chosen one, didn't work out. I left after I got fired, worked my way back in. I get injured. I come back from the injury, wait 2 years or whatever it is to try to get to the top. They finally tell me I'm going to get to WrestleMania. It's fucking canceled. Typical shit. And it's like, I get it, man. Like, that sucks. And that made me even more sympathetic, where I was just like, man, I hope that they give him the title. So thankfully, they did.
Yeah. Very much, thankfully.
But above all, WWE
Yeah.
24 Edge the Second Mountain. I tweeted this. I posted a thing about it. This is perhaps the best thing they have ever put on the WWE Network.
So, I'm surprised that we haven't just done a Darkcast on this. Because this was the best documentary ever on the network. Hands down.
It's so good. I can't, anybody listening that hasn't seen it yet, if you're like, well, maybe I'll check it out, you gotta watch it.
Yep.
It's something that they started off with a completely different idea. This was supposed to track his life after wrestling and just be like, so what have you been up to the past couple of years? And it tracks things from when he fell off his bike and he started to realize that, hey, my neck's not hurting as bad, and saying things like, I just realized that I've always had a headache and I don't have a headache anymore. And
I felt that. When he said that, I was like, imagine the pressure relieved from his body.
right. We got to see that, this is not like the biggest important thing in the world, but like his cheat meal is this place called Dope Donuts, and the donuts look amazing. So yeah, want some of that. You got to see how his relationship is with Beth, and they seem like a damn good couple. Like, that's so refreshing and nice to see, where it's not a story of like Because I mean, recently we watched the Chris Benoit Dark Side of the Ring. And that, of course, the whole thing is like, well, they got into a fight with this, and they happen to, and then see, like, you look at the Edge and Beth thing, and Edge is like, oh, is it pajama day at school? Like, I'm gonna pack that stuff for the kids and drive them there, and then I'm gonna try to become a wrestler again, or whatever. And you're just like, oh, and I know that it works out well. This is so nice.
I know, right?
This is just happy stuff. This is legitimately the reason why I went from being like so like annoyed and upset and all this other kind of stuff, and then being in a better mood heading into WrestleMania Day 2 was because of the Edge documentary. And of course, that played out the way that it did, but like I love this 24. I already wrote it down as there's no way. I hope that it happens, but there's almost no way anything they put on the network for the whole rest of the year is going to be better than anything that this is. So I have it down on my list already. This is winning the best WWE Network program of the year for me for the end of the year awards.
And you're skipping by things that like you and I we talked about before. Like I want to see people in creative beatings, and this showed Edge like going through the creative process.
They showed him drawing up some kind of a logo and going, well, I really like the lightning bolts here and whatever, but you could change it if you want. Just keep me in the loop. They showed him acknowledging that everybody was reporting the right things and that he was like, oh, crap, people knew that I was in town to see Dr. Maroon, and now I got to tweet out, no, I'm not, and no, I'm not, and whatever. So they acknowledged that when people tweet things and they say, don't believe everything that these dirt sheets report, obviously we know in the past multiple times those things aren't necessarily, take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes those things are 100% true and they just lie about it. It happens with movies. It happens with this, I mean, did you see the second Star Trek movie?
No.
Yeah, spoiler alert for everybody who hasn't seen that movie, but it's, I don't know, 10 years old at this point or whatever the hell. But Star Trek Into Darkness, Benedict Cumberbatch. Did I say Cumberbatch? Yeah. Benedict Bandersnatch. He was reported to be Khan in the movie. I'm not a big Star Trek fan, so I've never even seen the Khan movie and all that, but I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I know a little bit about the Khan character. And they spent months going, he is not Khan. He is this guy named John Harrison. He is not Khan. And you watch the movie, and there's like midway through the movie, my name is actually Khan. And everybody's like, we fucking knew it. Or like Marion Cotillard in The Dark Knight Rises. Oh, I'm playing Miranda something or whatever. I can't even remember. Miranda Tate, I think her name was. And
something like that.
Nope, I'm Miranda Tate. I'm nothing other than Miranda Tate. I don't know where you're getting this Talia business. I got you guys. I'm actually Talia. And it's like, yeah, how you didn't get us. We knew. So, like, I don't blame Edge for not, like, just going, oh, you got me. I've been talking to WWE, because he says in this, he's like, oh, I want people to be surprised. I don't want them to announce it ahead of time like they did with Morrison and so on and so forth. But it's still kind of like, keep that in mind, everybody. The next time that wrestlers go, no, that's not happening, don't believe what you read, wait a couple weeks and then I'll tell you that was actually true or something. Like, what I don't buy, though, I don't buy the idea that he on the spot decided to spear Elias.
I do.
I can't imagine that would be a thing. Like, for him to do that without being medically cleared, and for Elias to go along with it, and for them to have had a promo and he didn't do the promo,
He didn't get it cleared with Vince. I buy that. I can buy them saying, hey, go do a promo with Elias, and then him getting in a room with Elias and some agent, I'll say, I don't know, Jeff Jarrett, because they interacted a lot in that 24. And he's like, here's the thing, I want to spear you. Just be in position for it. Don't say anything. I'm okay. I want to do this.
What was that whole thing with Edge and Jeff, by the way, where he was like, oh, like, first time meeting you?
Oh, they were just fucking around.
Okay,
And
because I was like,
Mark
Mark Henry
Henry
believed it.
totally bought it.
And then I started to believe it because then I'm like, I don't remember them having a match. And I'm like, wait.
I knew that they had a match because Edge's first Intercontinental Championship, he wins from Jeff Jarrett.
Okay, good.
And Mark Henry is literally like, you guys haven't been in the same room together? No, but we've been in the same match. We've just never been in the same room together. It's like, what a wrestler joke. We've been in the same match, but we've never been in the same room together. Ugh. Good shit, though. I love that documentary. To see backstage at the Rumble when You Think You Know Me hits and Beth is crying and Shane is on headset and he's like, oh, that was fucking awesome. And just like, yeah. That's everything I want wrestling to be.
I liked when with the spear thing, I think it was, when Edge goes
And Vince
backstage.
just smacks him on the ass.
Yeah, Edge goes backstage and he's talking to Beth, and Beth is like, how you feeling? And he's like, how are you doing? And whenever she's like, I'll be mad later. Like that kind of thing. I'm like, that's a real couple right there. And then he tells the story that they show the footage of Vince walking by, just giving him a tap in the ass, just being like, hey, good job there, buddy. Like that kind of thing. What did he call him? He gave me a sportsman, I think he said. I just loved this. I loved how feel good it was. I love how they dove deep into different things. I love the creative process. This is so good that this special was better than the entirety of WrestleMania to me.
I can agree with that.
So if you did not see it, we gave you some of the highlights, but you gotta watch it.
That, and maybe we can segue here. But who would have thought that Edge and Dash Wilder were so close?
Yeah, that's strange.
And the Dash Wilder's just like, I'm not gonna. I know who you are. I'm not gonna take advantage of that. I'm just a guy who works at a gym. And then, a friendship builds, and Edge is in the middle of his retirement tour, and he gives WWE a Dash Wilder DVD or something. Like, hey, watch this kid. That's so cool.
Very strange, very cool. Loved it. Definitely watch it, everybody. If you were going to watch any of these, watch the 24. If you're going to watch one thing on the network this year, watch 24.
Yeah, like, get the network for this 24.
Yeah, it's really good. So, those were things from the past couple of days that we were going to talk about earlier than that, but, things happen. We will still talk about a couple different things we going on here, but I'm going to do a plug real quick. If you want us to do anything more on top of anything that we're doing, hit up the Patreon. The Patreon is the best way to motivate. It's not necessarily to motivate. I always say that, but it's really not true, because the motivation's there when you guys leave comments, when you guys share things, when you guys say, oh, this is a cool episode. That's motivation right there. But as far as monetary motivation, I should put it that way. If I got to work to do things for other freelance projects and stuff to try to make some ends meet, and there's donations coming in through Patreon, then I don't have to do those other things, and I can do more for Smark Moment and more for Fanboys Anonymous. So I mention it all the time. It's still true. It's truer now more than ever. If everybody who subscribed to the WWE Network, if everybody subscribed to the network, donated $1 to me, holy shit. But if everybody subscribed to the YouTube channel just on Smark Moment, not on Fanboys as well, because I know that there's some crossovers, and thank you to everybody who subscribes to both. But just the people for Smark Moment, if every person donated $1 a month, I would not only make more money in a year than I would make on a regular basis by a significant amount, but I'd be able to toss money towards Rob, toss money towards Callum, get people to do professional editing to make things sound better, get live streams up and running so much smoother, get some better equipment, have more episodes of everything per week, all that good stuff. So
I'm down for you tossing more money to Rob.
Yeah.
When I said more money, you don't toss me any money.
Yeah.
I'm down for you tossing money to me.
So keep that in mind, everybody. I know that spare change is something that's not even a real thing anymore with the way that jobs are going out the window, and now you don't even necessarily can depend on the same stuff that you could always depend on the way that you should have in a different environment, and you should have earlier in 2020 and all of 2019. And, the way that the world's working is crazy right now. But if you do have $1 a month, it seems like it's not much, but it is, depending on a lot of people that do it. And the more, the better, and more appreciated, of course, all that is. So if you take advantage of the $10 and up tiers, those give you access to the Darkcast and bonus features. Those are Patreon exclusive episodes. And that's where we do things like talk about whether or not eggplant is actually just adult zucchini. And we will talk about, for instance, which Pokemon are we on the Fanboys thing. We'll talk about you go through those, hey, pick 3 of these kind of things that are going on right now. We can goof off a lot in those, and you'll hear some behind the scenes things. You'll hear us not as edited down, a little bit more free in our speech. So you get benefits when it comes to that, and I'm trying to do more of those things too. So another thing of that is the Pick Your Poison tier. I mentioned before that we just did one for fanboys of the Pokemon the Movie 2000. We did a fan tracks for that. Tomorrow we're going to do one for Smark Out Moments, so thank you, Guest 5, for those. Take advantage of that if you want to request some kind of a special thing where you specifically want us to do that and you just can't wait anymore. Or maybe we're just potentially never getting around to it and you're like, damn it, I got to see the guys do that. So keep that in mind. Patreon.com/SmarkOutMoment, Patreon.com/FanboysAnonymous. Let's move on here with the hot tags. We are almost at an hour already, and we still have like 5, 6 hot tags. Or maybe we don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm not counting right. Probably not.
Either way, it's totally because we were just goofing off in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like I've gotten better. Like my brain's healed a little bit over the past couple of minutes or so. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think we just need to get it out of our system sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes we just need 3 eggs for me, 3 eggs for you. So, nobody has a clue what that means, but I'm just gonna move on. It's a completely sidetrack thing that maybe we'll talk about on a Darkcast or something. I don't know. This is something that's contradictory. Rhea Ripley has been spoken about in 2 different directions when it comes to this. One thing is she is having visa issues. She'll have to go back to Australia, and she could be gone for 6 months. And that could be one of the reasons why, or the main reason, or the only reason why Charlotte Flair won the NXT Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Then Rhea Ripley puts out a video and she's like, nope, still in America. So what the hell?
I believe the lady says she's still in America.
If she's still in America, what does that mean as far as the visa stuff? Does that mean that she's able to file the paperwork and she doesn't have to go back because now the travel thing's a little bit weirder, so they're being a little bit more flexible?
Maybe it just means that they want to fuck Jim Johnson and Mike Johnson of PWI and just have him report all the wrong information.
Could be that. Could be a totally invalid report. It could be a situation where maybe somebody got a name wrong. Maybe it's like Rita Reyes or something, and somebody was like, Rhea Ripley, yeah, whatever. It could be that none of this is true, and that she is just in America, no visa issues whatsoever, everything's totally fine. But if she does have some kind of a visa thing going on, that would be the only justification I could see for them putting that belt on Charlotte.
They put the belt on Charlotte because they wanted her on NXT.
It seems like that's the case. And what did she do for this week? Nothing. She wasn't on NXT. They did a recap of her Raw promo. So that's not great. Now we know that Io Shirai is going to be fighting her for the championship. So that seems weird. Heel versus heel. Io Shirai is just going to lose. She's certainly not going to beat Charlotte. Still thinking it's a mistake. Still think it's a mistake that they had Rhea's post-match loss interview thing be her crying backstage, because then she doesn't seem like she's as much of a badass as she was before.
Yeah, maybe she's just crying because of the conditions. She's sad that she didn't get a match in front of a stadium.
Well, they had her with that just go from like bawling her eyes out to saying she's a lot better than I thought that she would be. So it's just like, I'm sad, I lost, I shouldn't have challenged this 11-time champion. Or whatever the hell. It's like, they're making her look like an idiot, and I hate it. And if this would be the situation where she did have some kind of 6-month-long visa issue thing, then I could see why they would go, we got to put the title on Charlotte. But even if that would be the case, I'd make the argument Charlotte should have cheated. Because then Rhea can come in, whenever she can come in, and say, you know damn well you didn't beat me.
Yeah, but this is the way they went with it, and I think we'll be okay.
I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to be okay.
well, I guess we'll find out.
The way 2020 is going, I don't think that anybody should say that they're going to be okay. That is different when it comes to the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, because with that, they decided we're going to have an interim champion. They announced that Jordan Devlin, since he's not able to travel and they're not going to be recording NXT UK episodes, those are going to be just like clip shows for the time being. They're going to crown an interim champion starting in next week's NXT. They're going to start a tournament. They haven't said who's in it. They haven't revealed the brackets. Obviously, when they do that, we'll be talking about like who looks like a strong contender on this side. The way that we did with the AEW TNT Championship, which, by the way, Cody wins first round. For anybody who has not watched Dynamite, we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But NXT Cruiserweight Champion, interim champion idea, I'm of two opinions about this. One is I like it, and the other one is how the hell does this work? Because WWE is not the same thing as like a legitimate sports thing. So I kind of feel like they instead should just say we're stripping him of the title.
So here's the way to look at it. And I think this is a good way because it explains that, yes, it will count. And you can also just retcon things. Think of John Cena and CM Punk at SummerSlam in 2011. Where, okay, Punk left. They crowned a champion. But as soon as Punk came back, they merged the titles. Because essentially, John Cena was an interim champion.
But that officially counted as Cena was the champion, and Punk, when he won that, it was a new title reign.
Right.
So if they count it like that, then that makes more sense. If they try to do some kind of interim champion, but if Jordan Devlin wins, then that's a not new title reign. It's the same continued thing. Then it's sort of like, does that other person count as champion in the meantime, or does that just get completely stricken from the record?
Are you sure that other reign counted for Punk?
Pretty sure it did. That was the WWE Championship. List of WWE champions. Let's go on that in Wikipedia because I'm almost positive that they count that as being another title reign. Del Rio, John Cena. So, yeah, they count that as being vacated the day after Money in the Bank. And then Rey Mysterio's the next champion. Because they've always counted Rey Mysterio and John Cena for the championship.
So they don't count it?
They don't?
Nope.
For Punk defeated John Cena, whatever. This is considered a continuation of the... Oh, okay, wait. But then he would have been... How do they calculate the days?
It was only 28 days.
Okay, so I guess that's how they're going to do it then.
And I mean,
unless they end up doing something where Jordan Devlin doesn't win. And then, by all means, he lost the title when the interim champion thing started. It's going to be kind of hard for the people that, like, check the whole records and stuff.
Well, that's why I'm checking WWE's official count.
Yeah.
Because that's whatever they say is what will matter.
But in the meantime, before we know who is even in this tournament and stuff, let's toss out some ideas. Who could be a really good interim champion?
Tyler
if not
Breeze.
The next champion.
Tyler Breeze.
I think he's got a shot. I think Kushida could work.
Kushida's got a shot.
Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Yep.
he could be a fantastic choice for that. Looking at the list right now on Wikipedia of different people. I'm not entirely sure exactly everybody who is under the 205 live limit. Like I know that Damian Priest isn't. Um, they're not going to do anything with like giving it to Finn Balor, obviously, because that's not going to be the case. I highly doubt that we're going to get like Jorge Bali or Joaquin Wilde or Raul Mendoza doing that. They're not going to do that with Gargano or Ciampa. Kushida stands out to me as one of the main choices here. I think it would be a mistake if they went with like Leo Rush or Tony Nese or anybody who's like won that title before. I think that that's kind of just bland. They can't have somebody like a Pete Dunne. Not only is he a tag team champion, but he can't fly over to do that. Is Mansoor in
He should be.
He's in Florida. He's billed as 190 pounds. Maybe that would be kind of fun. Maybe Mansoor gets that in the meantime or something.
You know what? Yeah, because that'd be a good way to give Mansoor something instead of it just being like, all right, they're in Saudi. Here's Mansoor.
Right. I wouldn't be too opposed to that. I like the idea of Tyler Breeze. I don't know about anybody from NXT UK that might be in the United States and able to do this, but I don't think that there's probably too many options because, like, Tyler Bates probably not in the area, and Noam Dar probably isn't. So I think I'm banking on the idea of either Kushida or Isaiah Swerve Scott more than anybody.
So if I had to pick like 8 people, I know that Breeze would be in my 8. Swerve Scott would be in my 8. Kushida, Oni Lorcan, Danny Burch, because they're there. They could fight each other. That'd be fun.
They should fight each other at some point.
I'd put Leo Rush in there and round it out with 3, like the Lucha House Party or some shit.
Well, Tony Nese made a big deal on 205 Live about being like, I shouldn't even be in the tournament because I should still just be champion and all this. So I'm pretty sure he's in it. No, you
shouldn't. What's it been, like a year? Shut the fuck up.
Gentleman Jack Gallagher seems to be involved in it potentially. It seems like it could potentially also include Lorcan and Birch. So those might be 4 of the people, and then the other 4 people might be Rush, Scott, Breeze, and who was the other one that was in that?
Kushida.
Kushida? Was there another one too? Was it 5-on-5?
Yeah, it was 5-on-5.
So then we're missing 2 other people. Who the hell were the other 2 people then? Brian Kendrick?
Oh, yeah.
Aria Davari?
There you go.
They could be potentially in the mix, but they were both potentially on the other side. And then I don't know. But I guess we'll figure out starting next week because that's when the tournament's going to start. And then once we get a bracket, we'll start breaking down the bracket and talking about who should win and who might beat who, and maybe I'll write up articles about it. I don't really know. So the only other hot tag that I've got down here, other than the main one, is to just talk about the things that have happened over the past couple of days with Raw, NXT, Dynamite, SmackDown, 205 Live. I don't think we need to go and break down every single thing from every single episode, but
damn,
let's talk about we did that for a couple hours. But you know, there's some big things that have happened here and there, and it'd be nice to kind of go back and talk about some of those things because I'm sure some people are interested in what we think about, like the direction for instance, the Forgotten Sons are now on SmackDown, and I am not the biggest fan of them. But they did seem to get into a rut in NXT where they weren't going to win those tag titles. So move them up, see what happens. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
This is going to work so well. I'm going to cite one thing as proof. They were failures in NXT. And as we've seen with Carmella, with Alexa, with Otis, if you don't become a breakout star in NXT, they're going to shoot you to the moon on the main roster.
That's true. It's sadly true. There's not much to talk about on 205 Live. On SmackDown, some of the other things that happened recently, Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt are going to start a feud. And
I liked it.
I dig it.
I liked the fact that Bray kind of seems like he's back on track. I like that Braun is sort of just a champion. That's, I guess we gotta get used to, like, hey, he's gonna fight the champion, it's gonna fight Shinsuke Nakamura, and just be there because it's been a while.
I liked in the dirt sheet that they referenced that.
They referenced that a couple times.
Dirt sheet, for anybody who didn't see SmackDown, they were talking about, like, let's give out some good news. Good news is, like, we retained our titles. Good news is AJ Styles got buried instead of them, and that kind of thing.
Funny.
And one of the things was, we've got a new champion, and he's actually around a lot. Like, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I like it when they do those kind of things.
But I heard somebody else say that, and I don't know if it was, like, Strowman himself, or maybe it was even Wyatt, but somebody else said, hey, you're actually here. And I feel like they're going to hammer it home. They're like, no, this is a good thing because Braun's actually here. Yeah, it's weird that Roman won't be for the foreseeable future, but Braun's here.
Let's see. Women's tag titles retained. We're going to get, at some point, Carmella and Dana are going to challenge for the tag titles. But oddly enough, Dana Brooke is also in a qualifying match next week.
That's how you know she's not going to win. And
yep.
Naomi's going to win. And I got to tell you, it looked like they were going to turn Bliss there. Because she's like, whoa, I'm not fighting you. You know, that's not a real babyface thing to do.
They're going to do Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro in a qualifying match, which to me makes me think that, I guess, we're putting the whole potential rematch for the Intercontinental title on hold.
Yep, and I think Cesaro wins.
To get into the Money in the Bank?
Yep.
I'd be totally cool with that, because then potentially they could do Bryan versus Zayn again for the Intercontinental
title. I think
title.
Bryan goes home for a while. I could be dead wrong, but, you know, I just get that vibe.
Yeah, that could be a thing, because he did say about the whole, like, quarantining himself, and yeah, maybe that is the case. I mean, I love the idea of Cesaro fighting for a Money in the Bank briefcase, so I'd be down with either of them.
So Becky Lynch, actually, I think, was it the Bump, or no, it was Kayla Braxton's new show, Braxton on the Beat, or the Braxton Beat.
She's got a new show now?
Yeah, it's on Instagram. They're utilizing the fuck out of Instagram.
Yeah, I'm never gonna watch these things.
And the bad thing about them is they go away, so they only stay for as long as they're live. And like Shawn Michaels did an interview, and I was having a hard time finding clips. But Becky Lynch was like, "Can we start trending hashtag Cesaro for champ? Because like that needs to happen. It's ridiculous that he's never been champion." So who knows, baby? They get some steam behind Cesaro.
I mean, we're in an era right now where Cal Bloom is wrestling on SmackDown.
Did you know that he's the son of one of the Beverly brothers?
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
Bo Beverly. Real name Wayne Bloom.
Huh. That's weird. We got a continuation of this, that kind of stuff. So we're getting Tamina against Bayley, I guess, at Money in the Bank.
This was the weirdest thing on the whole show. Because Sasha and Bayley come out. And we had a funny exchange about that I will not repeat on the air. Sasha and Bayley come out. And they're like, oh, nobody from the present, past, or future is ever going to beat me. And I'm like, all right. We're getting an NXT debut here. But who's going to get called up? And then it's Tamina.
Yeah. How fucking underwhelming is that? I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, we're getting a legend. Like,
yeah.
You know, Lita's going to pop up or something.
We can get Lita, or we can get, you know, some NXT chick like Tegan Nox.
I was even thinking that maybe Mickey was back and ready to go, because she had been injured for a while and she was doing commentary on Main Event and whatever. And I was like, well, maybe Mickey's back and maybe they're going to give her a little bit of an interim shot. But Tamina comes out and it's like,
and then she starts talking. And I'm like, yo, I don't think I've heard you talk since like your first promo with the Usos. Is this the coronavirus? Like, am I having a fever dream? Like, what's... And you know what the crazy thing is? I like it.
It works for now because, I mean, look at what Bayley's been doing. She's been fighting the same people multiple times, and she fought Tamina once. So let's just beat that into the ground and have that be something that takes up some
I think
time.
Tamina can win.
I don't think it's happening. I think she's
Ah,
Bayley versus Tamina at Money in the Bank. Bayley wins. Sasha Banks can be in the Money in the Bank match.
Money in the Banks.
I already have that written down. My post that's scheduled 8 in the morning that she should be Ms. Money in the Banks. But that was basically SmackDown. We've gotten some things from like Monday Night Raw and stuff to kind of go back and double check a little bit here. Main event, nobody gives a shit about because nobody ever gives a shit about that. NXT, as I mentioned before, Io Shirai is the new #1 contender. We have now, when we got the whole Rinku Singh and Saurav Gurjar are a part of Malcolm Bivens' stable called Bivens Enterprises, but they also have a tag team name that's separate from that, Indus Share. And Indus Share, they beat Everrise. We got a Killer Cross vignette. We got that thing with like, hey, remember Finn Balor and Walter are supposed to be feuding right now. We don't know when that's going to happen, but it will eventually. Next week, the tournament's happening. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa had their match, and you get a chance to watch that?
I did.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
I liked it, but I didn't
don't
love
like
it.
commercials.
Yeah, that hurt it. I didn't like the ending.
You don't like Candace turning heel?
No, I don't think she could be a really great heel, and I really liked the ending up until that point. When they were starting to do the whole thing where Candace was like, you know, you two should stop and you should apologize to each other and just knock it off, and this should be the end of it. I was like, okay, cool. I like this. It's the end of their feud. They can both be baby faces, and we can just move on, and there feels like there's closure because they beat the living crap out of each other. But I don't think Johnny Gargano is a great heel. I don't think Candice can be a great heel. And for them to do this whole switch and be like, haha, we actually low blowed you and I won, whatever, that seems weird. And it seems weird that they teased that Killer Cross and not Shotzi Blackheart, Scarlett Bordeaux. Wait, is it Scarlett Bordeaux? Yeah. I get
Because
her
they're
mixed up with
watching them.
Sasha Bordeaux from Batman. Those two I just keep mixing up a whole lot. But they're watching from inside a car, seeing Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae leave. So it kind of teases the idea that they're going to start a feud with them. And I wouldn't think that Killer Cross and Bordeaux would be baby faces. So that seems a little bit weird to me too.
Maybe they just do a retcon with Johnny again. Where like it's like, listen, there's no way to say this other than to just say it. Ciampa was the villain here. He was.
At first he was.
What changes?
Gargano being a dick?
Okay, but in a real life situation, if somebody is a dick to you, like, let's say you have a bitch ex-girlfriend, right? If you interact with her in the future and you're a dick to her, does that suddenly mean that for the entirety of your situation, you were just a bad person?
Oh, no, not at all. But
Well, that's what we're dealing with here.
But then the way that this match ended solidifies Gargano's a heel. Because Ciampa was like, hey, okay, let's just call it quits and it's over. That kind of thing.
No, you tried to ruin my career. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the. I think Gargano is a babyface, even though it's morally ambiguous, let's say. But I think Gargano is still—he's just a guy with a lucky wife. Not a lucky wife, but a loyal wife. I got my L words mixed up there.
What other stuff we got? We got a Monday Night Raw. They did. I thought was funny. Oh man, I forgot I wrote this note. So Raw starts with Asuka and Liv Morgan. Asuka beats Liv Morgan by submission. So I know that some people are annoyed about that because they think that Liv Morgan should have won at WrestleMania, then won another time or whatever.
Holy shit, dude. Yeah.
To me, Liv Morgan is not somebody to,
Liv Morgan is not buried. No, I want to go here because, like,
yeah, she's not buried. She's going to be fine. I don't think that she's some hill to die on to be like, she's going to be fantastic anyway. And she's working her way up there. She is improving. So everybody should kind of give her a little bit more time. Losing to Asuka is not a burial and stuff. It is weird, though, that they decided, let's have Natalya versus Liv Morgan at Mania. Let's have Liv beat Natalya. And then the next night, we're going to have her lose in a match against Asuka that's completely unrelated. It is kind of strange. But what's weirder to me is they were like, we're going to do a rematch of Angel Garza and Austin Theory against Street Profits. And it ends exactly the same way for the most part, except it's a DQ instead of a pinfall. But it's Garza and Theory lose, and they start attacking Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, and Zelina Vega's in there too, and Bianca Belair comes out, and she helps fight them off. And Byron literally says, it's not going to be deja vu again tonight. First off, deja vu again? That's like quadruple deja vu. Second, it's not going to be the same thing tonight. What is the difference? It was the exact same thing. One night, the Street Profits beat Garza and Theory. The next night, the Street Profits beat Garza and Theory. On the first night, Garza and Theory and Vega did a post-match beatdown. On the second night, Garza and Theory and Vega did a post-match beatdown. On one night, Bianca Belair came out and saved the day. On the other night, Bianca Belair came out and saved the day. There's no difference except for it was a DQ instead of a pinfall.
But you see, it's not going to be deja vu again.
I laughed. I tweeted at it because I was just sort of like, Byron, what the fuck, dude? Like, but then they decided, okay, that's going to go into Bianca Belair versus Zelina Vega, which ended in a DQ, which became then a 6-person tag. And I'm like a solid hour of this kind of thing. And I'm like, let's just, are we going to have another person come out? It's going to be a 4-on-4. Then we're going to have a 5-on-5. Then we're going to have a whatever. Like, if they would have done that for the whole episode, I would have been hysterically laughing. Just like, okay, Andrade's actually not injured anymore, so he's going to come out. But then somebody else is going to say, like, Rey Mysterio is going to come out and whatever. And then Humberto Carrillo is going to come out. And then who did Carrillo fight? He fought somebody, didn't he? Brendan Vink. Brendan Vink will come out. And then, I mean, they couldn't do that because of the social gathering kind of thing. But, like,
that's what you think.
I thought that was funny. I thought it was funny that we got Apollo Crews is now on the Raw roster, and their explanation was based on draft picks that were about to expire.
Yeah.
The hell's that mean?
Back in October, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were drafted from Raw to SmackDown for an additional 3 picks. Brock Lesnar was one of them. And I guess Apollo Crews is now another?
I thought that they had wrapped that whole thing up already.
Nope.
It just seems so strange. But he had a competitive match against Aleister Black, so that was kind of
45 minutes, I swear to God. It felt like it went on forever. And it has to be, because I'm just so used to seeing him lose in 5 minutes.
Yeah. But I liked it.
I liked it too. I liked Raw. I'll be honest with you, I liked this episode of Raw. Because I'm getting the vibe, especially if things continue like this, and it looks like they are, like some people are about to break through ceilings that they just would have never had a chance to before.
We got Aleister Black. I just talked about that. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander are now, quote unquote, an exciting new tag team. We got Kevin Owens saying that he is a prize fighter and he's going to move on from that. Seth Rollins beats Denzel Dejournette. Nia Jax is back. She is using Paige's finisher now.
Hold on. I missed that Owens bit. Did he really just say, I'm done with Rollins because I'm a prize fighter now?
Basically. He said, I used to be a prize fighter. I'm going to try to go back to that.
So, what? I'm, you know what? I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. WWE proved that you can have two guys on the main roster. And yeah, you can put them in every tag match in existence. But to never have them touch one-on-one between Survivor Series and Mania, and then just move on after Mania, that's unheard of these days.
I'm not impressed. I thought it was a drag. Then we got the thing that everybody got nervous about. Big Show challenging
because I'm gonna get there. But I did like the Rollins thing. I thought he came off great, very intense, very like he should. It felt like old school wrestling, where it's like, okay, reset time. These guys are gonna squash people to let you know that they're still stars, and we'll see where we go. And then they fucking tried to almost give me a heart attack.
Yeah, that was nerve-wracking because they were like, we're going to air something that happened, this like breaking news kind of whatever thing happened after WrestleMania.
Only a D-tier clickbait site would do this. Breaking news. Shocking. From WrestleMania, breaking news that we're not going to show you for another 3 hours. Okay. I'm thinking, and I even said this to you, I'm like, I feel like it's just going to be Brock walks out, right? Like, Brock is just like, you know what, Paul? I'm really done this time. And then we get the fucking Big Show?
So apparently, yeah, the Big Show challenged Drew McIntyre to a match following WrestleMania, which now on the record books goes down as a dark match from WrestleMania. Not a match on Monday Night Raw.
This was the weirdest thing to me. Not because they nearly gave me a heart attack, but because if they'd have done one little thing, I wouldn't have had the heart attack. If they just would have changed the staging from all the LEDs that say Mania to just say Raw, we would have been fine.
And have him say, oh, okay, like next thing, he's going to do an interview and act like it was Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they did this whole shocking stuff and whatever, and it's like the shocking thing is he retains the title and all that. But I got nervous.
Nope. I'm not even gonna knock him. It was shocking. I thought Big Show's got a show on Netflix. Oh my god, they're gonna fucking put the belt on the Big Show.
Yeah, I don't consider that shocking thing though. I mean, it's shocking that they went in that direction, but I don't think that that's where they.
It would have been like, shocking if they pulled the trigger.
Then it would have been like, you've got to be kidding me.
Because I tried calling you. I think I'm frantically going, no, this is a joke, no. And he choke slams him, and I nearly crap my pants.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we're not going from Brock Lesnar to the Big Show.
But then again, WWE does that stuff, so I was writing up, okay, well, new champion crowned. I'm like, I gotta have it prepared now, because it could happen.
And thank God, he body slams him, he claymores him. 1, 2, 3.
Now, on the Dynamite side of things, that was very tame in comparison. But we got some interesting stuff. We got, I thought it was funny that Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa were going to team up, and they wanted to figure out a team name. So Nakazawa suggested Best Friends. Best Friends overheard, and they were like, fine, we'll put our team name on the line and all that. I thought that was funny.
I didn't think the match was funny. I got really annoyed.
To be honest, I didn't really watch the match too much.
It was a bunch of tech spots.
I didn't really watch it, but the idea behind that whole thing I thought was kind of funny. I thought it was funny that they did the whole thing with Sheeta and Britt Baker wrestling, and Chris Jericho was on commentary and doing a fantastic job on commentary throughout the whole night. But that match, he stood out a lot to me.
Yeah, he really put over Britt Baker strong. Tony Schiavone and Britt Baker have a great relationship. They have this fun connection that is elevating Britt's character, and then the match itself was good. I really enjoyed all the Pineapple Pete stuff. Whenever Sugar Dunkerton was on the outside because he was wearing that pineapple button down. I liked it. Like, I thought it was the worst episode of Dynamite I've seen, but only because it was just average.
Yeah, it was a really average one. I'll admit it. They kind of pushed some things in the future, and they did a little bit more with the Exalted one. He was complaining that two people didn't have a shirt and tie on, which Cody is like, no, this isn't supposed to be about Vince. And it's like, come on.
It's not a direct spoof of Vince, is what Cody said. And Cody, I feel like Cody is very real in the sense that he's like, I don't want to crap on them. You know, like, I am a WWE guy. I love Vince. I love Hunter. And then he's just like, but that fucking company sucks. Let's crap on. Yeah. Like, it seems like that's what he goes through. Because he's constantly like, no, I don't want to do that. I really want to do that. Let's do that.
It's very strange, but I like it. I think it's funny. Matt Hardy has challenged Chris Jericho to an elite deletion match at the Hardy compound, which who knows when that's going to happen.
That should be very funny. I can imagine Chris Jericho getting thrown into the lake of reincarnation and coming out as like smiling babyface Lionheart or something.
I hope they get to film that. That'd be great.
They will. They're not stopping to film the events. They're filming the events.
What about Double or Nothing? Because that's not happening where it was supposed to.
That's not happening in Vegas, but they're probably still gonna try to film it somewhere.
We know that Moxley and Hager are going to fight in a no holds barred match for the championship next week.
Yeah, that was taped prior to the lockdown in Florida, and JR is actually going to be on commentary for that.
Supposedly it's really good, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so. It's like Mox is really good. I even said, like, I don't know if was I talking to you when I said it, that Edge coming back is probably like the first time I missed Dean Ambrose, because like I feel like that would have been a great match.
Yeah, that could have been cool. And we got Cody goes on with the TNT Championship tournament.
Of course he does, because now we know that the finals will probably be Cody and Lance Archer.
Most likely. Lance Archer had beaten Alan Angels. So yeah, that's kind of that's the breakdown of the stuff we got this week for the TV stuff, but that's going to transition us into the final hot tag here, because we know something that's going to be happening pretty soon, I would assume, with the AEW roster, is that they're going to now get the Revival. I mean, there's no confirmation that they're going there, but they're gone from WWE. The Revival has changed their names on Twitter. They are now Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood.
Yeah.
But WWE put out a thing on WWE.com saying that they both are gone. So they could have kept them a little bit longer.
And here's the kicker. They're both gone, effective immediately. So the key here is they're free.
Well, does that not count that 90-day
Nope.
thing?
They're free.
I thought that the effective immediately thing still applied with that.
Nope. They never have that wording. It's effective immediately because there is no 90 days.
Well, what's funny is we knew that this was all happening. We knew that they weren't going to be re-signing and all that, but there's been this whole idea that like the one of them was going to last a little bit longer than the other one. I think it was Dash Wilder was supposed to.
So he had an extra 2 months, but they could even then, you can't do a 90-day no compete. They have less than 90 days on their contract. You can't force them to sit out time that they don't have.
I mean, they could have made him wait those extra 2 months.
But it was a Dash had like 2 days left, and Dawson had
one of them was the one. Like they could have said the one of them's gone and made the other one wait 2 months if they really wanted to.
They weren't going to do that. They know enough to know, like, all right, we're not going to,
It'd be a dick move to do it. That's the thing. Because it's like, all right, at this point, if you're not signing back up, just go. Just be nice. They're going to go there anyway. Those 2 months are not going to be the biggest deal in the world.
Okay, Sean told me personally, Sean Rossap said, for anyone asking, Reliable didn't and couldn't have a 90-day no-compete anyway. Dawson's deal was up in days, and Dash had only 2 months. So I guess they're being nice.
They're being nice with the Dash stuff and just saying, all right, you can go now. You don't have to wait those 2 months and make it stupid.
Especially because what are you going to make them do for the next 2 months?
Sit at home, pay them.
Everybody said they're not even paying them. They weren't even paying them.
They weren't?
Nope.
Even then, yeah.
That's another reason why they probably wanted to be nice, because all the sites got around to reporting, hey, these guys aren't even being paid.
Well, we talked about the name Cash Wheeler before.
I like it, especially in comparison to.
Well, Scott Dawson's real name is David Harwood. So he's just changed David to Dax. I don't hate it, but I don't like it.
Do you know anybody named Dax?
What about the name?
Do you know anybody named Dax?
Nope.
Have you ever heard that name in your life?
Isn't that like a video game?
I think you're thinking of Jack and Daxter.
Oh.
But Dax Harwood. Whatever.
I mean, his other names that he's gone by in the past were Dennis Laundrie, Casey Anderson, Casey McKnight, and Scott Dawson. So
I like Casey McKnight.
I don't like Casey McKnight for him. I don't think he looks like a Casey McKnight. I think Casey Anderson could potentially work. I think Dennis Laundrie would work, but it wouldn't work for a wrestler. To me, that's more of like, and the suspect was named Dennis Laundrie. Some kind of like, oh, that's the Zodiac killer, like that kind of thing. But Dax Harwood, I'm like, it sounds old school. I guess it's okay.
Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood. I guess they're Wheeler and Harwood in real life, so. And they're going to be FTR.
They're going to be FTR. I think that's stupid. What does the FTR stand for? They're going to do the whole like, it's free the revival, it's fuck the revival.
They're going to play with that all day long.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Is it free the revival? Is it fuck the revival? Is it farewell the revival, like their new shirt, which is literally them holding the SmackDown tag titles, but the tag titles look like they've been Thanos snapped.
Right.
And I just want to see the revival against the Young Bucks. And I want to see it in a way that makes sense, that is built up like tag team wrestling matters, that's got like strong story behind it, and that leads to like a good 30-minute match.
I'm excited to see what they do. And
it's gotta be, what kind of kick in the dick would it be if they went to Ring of Honor or something? Like,
if they went to Impact, my God, everybody would just be like, all right, 2020 sucks. And there's multiple reasons why, but like, be like, yeah, it's going into the same direction, just doesn't make any sense. They got to go to AEW. We know they're going to AEW. It's just going to be a matter of time.
They have to go to AEW. You've got Arn and Tully there. You've got the Young Bucks. You got Proud and Powerful. You got Jurassic Express. Lucha Brothers.
You know what I just thought of? I don't think that they would go in this direction, but they might. Sean Spears said on Dynamite when like Nakazawa and stuff, he's like, remember, I'm still looking for a tag team partner and all that. He's got Tully. What if they make a stable? Sean Spears and FTR. And it's not that he ends up being like half of a tag team. He just ends up being like the singles guy and they're the tag team. And they've got Tully as their manager.
I would love it.
I think that could actually work.
The revival with Tully versus Cody and Dustin with Arn. Like,
Spears can be in the mid card and main event, kind of hovering levels. He's not tagging up with Peter Avalon and all them anymore.
The Revival, against, I don't know, Darby.
The three of them against, as a warm-up match, the three of them against
Jurassic
Express, the three of them against the three members of SCU, the three of them against the Young Bucks and Kenny.
At some point, you could do the three of them against MJF, Butcher, and Blade if you want to do like a heel versus heel.
Three of them against Death Triangle.
Three of them. I probably wouldn't be It probably wouldn't be Kenny and the Bucks. Probably be Cody and the Bucks.
Well, it could be Cody and the Nightmare Family.
Oh, that's right, because QT Marshall's got a thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't thinking that. Then now you kind of sold me on. Fuck it. Do Sean Spears as a stable. What do you call it? I don't know, but we can figure that out later.
I don't know. I don't like the FTR name, but if they just put Sean Spears and FTR and all that, it's just a bunch of letters or something. I would hate it. So hopefully they would have some kind of an actual name.
Perfection. Like, you know how Spears' Twitter account is literally like perfection with the 10.
Yeah.
I'd call it that. And I think you can get away with it.
Good work.
We're not worried about being 5-star. We're not 5. We're a perfect 10. I'm
excited to see what they do. I think that the names could be better. The names could be worse.
I mean this. They didn't fucking do this with Brody, and they didn't do this with Matt Hardy. Wait until there are people. Please. Pretty please.
Could happen that their game plan might have been Double or Nothing. And if they end up having to do that in front of nobody, they might not be willing to wait.
Just do All Out.
To wait for like months and months?
Yeah. What's months and months? Wait 4 months. You can bring them in slowly through promos, but do not do the match. Do not do the match in front of nobody. Please don't do the match in front of nobody.
Or I thought you meant the debut.
No, just if you gotta have them debut, fine. But don't start having them wrestle in front of nobody.
Well, there's the hot tags. I think that we ran down pretty much everything. We're way over an hour and a half at this point. Anything else you think we didn't talk about that we should? I don't think so, right?
No, I want it to be funny, but I think we've done enough.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Drop a comment below. Tell us your thoughts on the hot tags and anything else you want to talk about. Drop those mailbag questions if you haven't done that already.
Drop a better name than Dax Harwood in the comments, please.
Yeah, tag team name for them, a stable name. What would you like to see us do in the future, and so on and so forth. Pick up some merchandise on the TeePublic and Redbubble if you're interested in that. Check out fanboysanonymous.com if you want to see anything that's happening over on the geek culture spectrum. That's over on that website. Show that site some love. Follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts for everything. Subscribe to all the YouTube channels. Blah, blah, blah. You should know the score by now. You should also know where to follow Rob, just in case.
I'm at Dude Felice on Twitter and Instagram. I want to get motivated to do things, and maybe if you motivate Tony to do things, Tony can motivate me. That seems to be the relationship we have. So keep motivating Tony. He'll keep motivating me. And yeah.
Yeah, all right, guys. That's it. We will see you tomorrow when we do the one more match, Eddie Guerrero. Then we'll get into the next week content, the mailbag, the hot tags, whatever else is happening, any kind of other kind of specials, any live things. It'll happen, it'll happen. It'll happen and it'll happen. It'll happen, and when it happens, you guys will be aware. Follow the Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. You'll get the notifications, and we'll see you then. I think it's time for us to go because we are just out of it, and we'll see you next time. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.